welcome back to an Attktx Intel session. We haven't done this in a hot minute. We really want to get on here and just kind of talk through some of our previous projects, some things we're working on. Just kind of give an opportunity to share some more information with you guys. Josh and I were just talking for probably like, I don't know, close to 2 hours. We're like, we need to start recording this. So anyways, so yeah, hopefully show you guys a lot of cool stuff here, show you some stuff we have going on, and maybe eventually we can get to the point where we can do these live, and it'd be cool to take questions as we're doing this. It'd be really cool. So as many of you guys know, I'm Gant. I'm in actually Georgia and South Georgia, and Joshua, my partner, is in actually, go ahead, Joshua.
Utah, American Fork, Utah. So south of the capital, or Salt Lake or whatever, by about half an hour.
How's the weather for you guys right now?
It's been all over the place. Last couple of days, we've gotten a bunch of rain. Yeah. It's been hot. It's been cold. It's
probably been heading this way. We've had a ton of rain here recently too.
Well, the rain's good because we're like extreme drought. They have like statewide emergency order, blah blah blah. But
like drought and stuff.
Yeah, we didn't get enough snow this last winter. But
so another thing that's really cool about Josh and I kind of being East Coast and West Coast is, in terms of events, like, one of our big goals is to try and get more events and get out there and kind of be able to see the different areas and stuff. And, it's always awesome when we go to the events to meet you guys in person, to kind of, not only put a face with a name, but, hear what you think about the products and all the stuff. It's really cool, So one of Josh and I's goals is that, I know, like, let's talk a little bit about some of our event schedule coming up. So you just recently went to Super Game. How was Super Game?
A lot of fun. The first day was crazy busy. I don't think I stopped moving the entire time. It slowed down as the event got on, but I think people were playing more than wandering through the vendor area. But yeah, a lot of fun meeting all the Attktx guys. Well, at least most of them. Killshot and who else was there? I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. Bearded Works, and then meeting some of the
Bird.
Oh yeah, Charles Bird. And then some of the media guys. Talked to Wolf, talked to Uncle Sam.
That's cool.
Yeah, a lot of time, a lot of fun, good times, seeing a lot of old friends. Because like again said, I'm West Coast, so I played, back in the day, played. Was it Pan Ams and NPPLs and what was the Spec Ops, the SPPLs. So I knew a lot of the Oregon guys. I knew a lot, and the scenario guys working with Spec Ops. So seeing all the old scenario people.
It's not like a meetup when you guys are out there. You get to see.
Oh yeah, and scenario is kind of different. It's the same tournament, right? You see old friends.
For sure.
There's camaraderie between teams. It's a little more relaxed because it's not competitive paintball. It's more fun paintball. But I mean, even instead of a team of 5 to 10 guys, you've got teams of 20 to 30 guys, these scenario teams. But yeah, it's a lot of fun catching up with old people. But
yeah, I was telling Joshua that I've actually never played a scenario. So like one of our goals is to get to some scenarios. Hopefully we can at least get to something this year, but I'd love to play a scenario. We've got to go do like Invasion of Normandy, or, some of these like iconic ones, yeah. I'm gonna see if I can't talk my wife into coming out there and maybe doing something, but we'll see how that goes. But
we'll get her to ride in a tank so she doesn't have to actually get shot.
There you go. So we got to do that. But yeah, so the really cool thing is one of our plans is to I'm gonna start attacking some of the East Coast stuff. Josh was gonna do some of the West Coast, and then we're gonna do different ones together. But so some things that we've talked about doing coming up. NXL Ohio, my wife and I are going to drive up to that. Joshua's not going to come to that one, but Joshua and I are going to try and do Texas after that if we can pull it off, NXL Texas. So that would be very cool. I don't know if you said you were going to do a WC between October, or we're just going to plan to maybe hit the WC in October. What's your thought, Joshua?
There's the third WC is the week before or the week after the ICPL we're talking about going to.
Right.
So that is the question, if we can do 2 events, 2 weekends in a row, basically.
Yeah, true. That's true. So another cool thing, we are going to play and have a booth at ICPL Pittsburgh, which is just an iconic mechanical tournament. So we hope to see a lot of you guys there. We'll be playing as Attktx. Josh and I are going to be there playing. So like, going to be a really cool opportunity and a really cool time. So We might have some new mechanical stuff there. We'll have to see how it kind of all plays out, but we're looking forward to that. Yeah, and so like if we could pull off a WC, I'd love to come out to one of those, and if we could pull off that October one, that would be really cool, Joshua, because I know like.
Oh, sorry, that's the 4th WC, right?
Is that the last one? It's got to be the last one.
Yeah, I think it's the last one. So yeah, it'd be October, and then we'd be hitting World Cup November.
Yeah. So we've got to somehow maybe sneak a big game in there somewhere.
Right.
So if you guys chime in on, maybe an event you'd like to see us at, or something that you would recommend, big game wise. The other thing I was going to say is I'm going to try and make a USXBL, the Florida event. I think that's July 11th through 12th. Maybe not. The MVPS, I'd love to get to one of those too, but that's right before Pittsburgh as well, and it just might be too much to kind of pull off for us, you guys. We're still pretty small at this point, and we're learning a lot, but so yeah, I think that would be pretty cool to if we could pull all that off by the end of the year, that would be awesome. And then of course we love ending with a bang on World Cup, and that's just such a fun time. So
for sure. Anyway, 3rd World Cup.
That's crazy. Yeah, and so the cool thing,
especially with how long I've been in the game, like finally getting to them the last 3 years versus
right, because you said you hadn't been to a World Cup in like what, 5 or 6 years.
There were several years I was supposed to go with various teams, but whatever happened, team drama, life drama. Things just didn't work out. But
right. So what else was I going to say with that? The other cool thing, you guys, is this month we're actually coming up on our 2nd year anniversary. So I have to see the exact date. I think it's maybe the 2nd or 3rd weekend that we launched the website. So who knows? We're gonna think about something. Sometime
mid-June, I think.
I think it was after my birthday. Wait, when is your birthday again, Joshua? Your birthday's coming up.
Yep, June 29th.
June 29th. Okay, so yeah, I'm the 12th, you're the 29th. So yeah, we're gonna try and see if we can't pull off something cool for this month for you guys. And like always, we appreciate all you guys who purchase our products, who take interest in what we do. And let me just tell you, it's a lot of hard work behind the scenes. It's we care a lot about this brand and making great products for you guys. And we just want to say we appreciate you guys. So
absolutely.
So let's talk about some of the stuff we've been working on, because we have since the last time we did this, we have just done an onslaught of different things. And the other interesting thing, guys, is like for what you see us release, there's 20, 30 items that there are 20, 30 items that are at some sort of stage of development, right? And like I'm sure if you saw Joshua's desk or my desk right now, there's all sorts of little cool goodies and things that we're just like, man, I just want to show you guys, this is so cool. But we're also learning how to kind of properly do releases and stuff. I do want to talk about something, Joshua, and I think people might be interested in this too. We've talked about this. Today's day and age is very much this kind of like limited run, kind of, scarce amount, blow them out, very limited exclusive type thing. Joshua and I like that, but we also really want to have stuff on the shelf so that if somebody wants to come grab something, they can. Like, Joshua, we've gone back and forth on this. What's your thought on this?
Yeah, no, and I come from the angle, it's like, say I build an autococker with titanium parts that we've done, right? It's like, okay, I built this one, and then in a year or something, it's like, I want to build another autococker, but I can't find those same parts that I really like. So I like to be able to still get the parts I appreciate. Sure. But on the flip side, it's like, how do we sit on, hundreds and hundreds of parts waiting for people to buy them?
Yeah, and that's a very tough thing for us as a small business, and I'm sure many other small businesses. It's like, man, like if we dump a lot of our resources into inventory, it's a great thing to have inventory and have people to go there and purchase something. Because we grew up in a day and age where you could go to any one of these stores, and of course when the e-commerce came out, like you could get what you needed when you needed it, right? But now I think today it's more so about like, hey, let's release 200 of these. Let's blow them out of here in a couple minutes. And it's like, you'll never have the chance to get one, and you've got to get on the secondary market. Don't get me wrong. There's some cool stuff to that. It's cool to have exclusive stuff. It's cool to, and some stuff isn't always, some stuff might be more niche, right? So I think for us, we want to try and find a balance between both, right? Wouldn't you agree, Joshua?
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah. And again, like Gans pointed out, like it benefits us to move a lot of product quickly so we can put that money into the next project, the next set of prototypes, the next production run of parts, which can be expensive sometimes.
Yeah, and I also want to speak on the pre-orders, guys, you know, and pre-orders are kind of like a blessing and a curse, right? I know for us, and especially the pace that we've moved. I mean, you guys, we have developed a lot of products. I mean, we have gone from autocockers to titanium barrel backs to headband heroes to all sorts of parts. We have parts for the Eclipse platform. We have parts for the Lux platform now. We have JT accessories. We have tons of other stuff. But that being said, pre-orders, it's a good thing for us in the terms that it gives us an idea of what you guys are looking for finish and color wise. And that's the tricky part too, is we want to try and accommodate everybody as best as possible, but on the back end, it creates a lot for us, you know. And again, you guys, this is just Joshua and I running this with the help of, you know, either probably Joshua's family, my wife, and you know, so it's a lot to keep up with. But you know, it's like, just for example, just the drops. I mean, we did dust silver, dust black, polished black. I can't remember if we released raw on that or not. I'm not sure if
on which one.
on the CS drops. I can't remember.
Okay, yeah.
Can't remember if we released raw. Yeah, we did release raw. So again, it's a lot of different SKUs. It's a lot of different things, but very short and simple. Pre-orders are great in terms of they give us an idea of what you guys are looking for and what we need to order to kind of accommodate that. It also, for how many projects that we have taken on and the pace at which we're moving, it allows us to keep with that pace, right? Because if we weren't able to do that, I don't think we could move at the pace that we are if we had to dump a significant amount of resources into one project and go from there. But at the same time, pre-orders are bad because we know you guys don't want to wait for these things, right? And we also want to do our due diligence to make sure everything in 3D, you know, we get all the ideas out. We make sure everything in 3D space is right. We move through the prototype phase. We go do aluminum prototypes. We, you know, maybe do a second prototype or a third prototype. And of course, we do our absolute best to try and make sure that by the time it's ready to roll, it's ready to roll, you know. And so yeah, it's a double-edged sword, you know. So maybe with that too, Joshua, we'll get better in the future about, you know, having things that are available right away. And then I think it depends on the project. Like the titanium barrel backs, to take on a project of that scale and cost and complexity, we had to do those pre-order. There's no other way to do them, right? Something like the JT plugs that are a little less complex and a different project, we can go ahead and, you know, make those right and ready available. So
well, and as we grow, like our goal is to move away from that model and be able to have these things just ready to go at launch. But again, we kind of have to build up to that, I guess you could say.
Correct. From all angles, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyways, so yeah, that's some good info. So yeah, let's go through some of the products real quick. So what do you want to start with, Joshua? You want to start with barrel backs?
Sure.
Let's start with barrel backs real quick. So you guys know that we released the S63 titanium barrel backs, and just to let everybody know, there are 500 of those made. That's all that's been made. The question of whether they get made again, that's a whole nother story. Okay, so what is there, right? So we appreciate all the support with those. It is absolutely awesome to pull up a random picture or a random video or some, you know, Joshua, I know we send stuff back and forth. It's so cool to start seeing our products out there and like people enjoying them, and like it's really cool, man.
Absolutely.
But it's been cool to see all the titanium barrel backs. So we segued that into we had a lot of interest in making the Lux backs. And so we ended up making the Freak XL, and we also did a run of the new run of Lux Air. So we've only made 250 of each batch. Okay, so again, same thing. The titanium backs, it's a whole nother story, just because the material is so expensive. It's so expensive to machine it, just all of the stuff involved. So 500 S63s, 250 Lux Airs, and 250 Freak XL. The cool thing about these backs is one of them is Freak XL. It also takes the stock Lux threaded tip. So you'll be able to take your, let's say you've got an Adrenaline TM40 or some, you know, very cool, you know, or even a project. Was the project TM40? I can't remember. It was. I think it was.
The Cocker thread? I don't recall.
No, those would have been Lux thread, impulse thread.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Sorry. I'm thinking of the adrenaline.
Yeah, adrenaline lux. But the cool thing, guys, is you can use your matching tip. Okay, so
Now, caveat there though, if you have a Freak XL tip, what we found is there's some tolerances on the PWR inserts that are kind of tight on some of the tolerancing of the Freak XL tips. So the Lux Air tips fit better with the PWRs. We're talking about a difference of 5 or 10 thousandths. I don't know how far we want to get into this, Gant, but
they'll probably work. We haven't run into a combo that doesn't, but there might be, right? You know,
there are some. So if you're at the far end of the tolerance of either of those parts, you might find that they don't want to fit together. So I found with, actually, I have it there.
I think most of the combinations we found, though, everything fit.
Yeah, it was tight. There was one combination I found with, I think it was their PWR insert, the Lux or DLX PWR insert was a little tight going into their XL tip. So they should work, but they're close.
Yeah,
and that's all I'm saying is there may be some scenarios,
right? And of course, go ahead, Joshua.
No, there may be some scenarios that are a little snug,
right? And again, guys, I know I've reached out to a lot of you guys. When you get your backs, we don't pre-grease any of the inner O-rings or the obviously your barrel tip. But when you get those backs, just because we have it in a nice case, we didn't want to kind of have grease in there and just we want
it's not needed in every scenario. So we were like, well, if needed, you put a little bit of grease on the oil on the O-ring, it'll help the insert slide in and out. I think I saw a post the other day where a guy was saying his his Lux PWR insert wouldn't fit into his Lux barrel, and people pointed out that you need to put a little oil on them sometimes.
Mine's going a little crazy right now with all the I'm in Lux PWR Freak.
Right. Like trying to, okay, which one are we talking about? What combination of parts?
Hey, the point is, guys, when you get the backs, make sure you just put a little bit of grease on the inner O-rings, the inner 18 O-ring, and then of course your tip as well to make those go together very easily. So
if you're having a problem, yeah. For sure.
Well, ideally too, I think you want to just to make that insert smooth. Just it'll be a smoother experience, right? Because you know how it is when you grab that O-ring that's dry or rough. It needs just a little bit of lubrication there. It just make it more enjoyable. So we made the Freak XL Lux backs and we made the Lux Air. Okay, obviously the Lux Air is PWR now, same tip, and then of course the Freak XL is Freak XL. You have to have a Freak XL insert and a Freak XL tip. Now, a couple really cool things. Actually, you guys who pre-ordered these and guys who haven't seen these yet, because we haven't showed this, we actually made just a few little tweaks to the production model, and they're all tweaks in terms of we further reduced the weight. So when we got the prototypes, I think the prototypes were what, 6, 7, 8 grams more than the stock back?
Between 6 and 7 grams, which is nothing really. Yeah, but it was within 6 to 7 grams of the aluminum backs,
which is nothing at the end of the day. But you guys, like, some of these things, they eat at our mind, and we're like, we've got to, so not only did we have a titanium back, but like our S63 is, I think, a gram lighter than the stock aluminum, which is insane.
No, it was more than, it was a few grams light. Again, we're talking nothing. Yeah, grams are.
Yeah. So what we did is, Josh and I were talking about, of course, I get the chance to see the prototypes. Joshua does as well. We collect all of our thoughts. We go back and forth. We continue on in the process. But Josh and I talked about reducing the weight with this. So what we did, and I think it looks insane. It's not gonna be an aesthetic thing, but Joshua, I'll let you kind of lead them through kind of some of the things we did.
Yeah. So one thing, so the challenge we ran into is there wasn't a lot of real estate for us to actually remove weight, but still have something that looked correct on the outside, that looked cosmetically appealing. So we had to get creative, and we took inspiration from some of the old XL tips that had the XL machined into there. And we moved our delta pattern and put one more row, which this is what adds a lot of cost to these, is these stupid holes. But so we added an extra roll of the delta pattern in the collar.
What is the rim of holes? It's 10, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I think every section.
Each row is 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
That didn't quite get us. It's all about marketing, right? It's like, oh, we need to be the lightest, the best, the this, that, the other. But anyway, those holes didn't quite get us there. So we also did, because there was room to do it, was we pocketed the inside. Where is those cuts? Let me grab those two cuts. So you can kind of see where we pocketed the inside to remove that little bit. Again, we're talking a couple of grams, just to be at or below the factory aluminum weights.
Yeah, I think we're below the aluminum pack
Yes.
right now, because if it's 8 grams, we're definitely below. Because
For sure on the air backs, the cocker threaded Lux. Yeah,
right, because we
that
did
one kind of blends the lines. So it goes back to which ones. What are we referring to? Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. But
no, we didn't. I know that we had airbacks to measure.
Oh, that's what it was, the weight. The weight. So the air is lighter. I don't have a sample right now to compare. Well, there's so many different generations. What's their lightest one? What's their heaviest one?
Mm-hmm.
But we're thinking it's gonna be in the ballpark or lighter than the aluminum ones.
Yeah. So pretty cool little changes. We did the same similar technique on the air. Obviously, the PWR has the back cut off so that you can pull off the insert. So we weren't able to do the delta pattern on the back, the skeletonized delta pattern. But anyways, I think that looks sick. That's going to look amazing in person. So again, there's only 250 of those made. Whether we make another set, that's to be determined. But we wanted to do a special run for the Lux stuff.
Yeah. To Gan's point, there wasn't room to do that pattern through here. Plus, there's the threading for the rifled PWR inserts. But we did the undercuts on the inside to reduce the weight and still maintain what we thought was the good cosmetics of the outside.
Joshua, let's touch on that, because that's something that we skip over. You guys, another expense to these barrels is we also added the inside rifled insert for the first strike rounds. So if you guys are wondering what that threading is on the inside, it's the same thing that Eclipse does. I think those were all made by Lapco, right?
I believe they do the rifled inserts.
Maybe Eclipse made them too. I'm not sure, but cool thing is that if you have a rifled insert for first strike and you want to rock that, you're able to. So again, that was an added cost to them, but we contemplated that early on. We're like, you know what, we want it to be everything that was already there. So
yeah, so the PWR standard system or ecosystem, if you will, right? So anything that's PWR will work with these. For sure.
All right, so while we're on the topic of Lux, let's keep moving. So the other cool things that we made for the Lux was we actually made 2 trigger designs. And I've actually got one of them here. A couple of really cool things we did. And Joshua, I know you'll speak to this more, but there's actually a lot of things going on in this trigger. Not only is it much larger at the top, it also tapers down to the bottom. We've also extended the length to really utilize as much as the pocket as possible. Actually, we had it even longer, but we were running into issues where it was actually hitting the frame. It's funny, Josh and I were talking, I know you guys all saw the Adrenaline release. We were actually thinking of similar things, cutouts in the trigger frame. It's kind of cool to see them kind of go the same path. But
yeah, to Dan's point, we ran into the same issue where the stock trigger we felt was too short. There's a pretty decent gap between the trigger guard and the bottom of the shoe. So we extended out to where we're happy, but depending on where you had the rake adjustment of the trigger shoe, you'd run into the trigger guard, which Adrenaline addressed by cutting a window, which was pretty clever, through the bottom of the trigger guard, which allowed them to keep that kind of max length regardless of where the rake adjustment was.
Yeah.
But
to be
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Joshua.
I would say to one of your earlier points, you talked about the width of the trigger. So typically a trigger is kind of the same width from the tip all the way to the top. And what we wanted, and there's some safety things there, right? You don't want the bottom of the trigger shoe to stick out wider in the trigger guard, because then you get some unintentional discharges, if you will.
Yeah, you don't want to be brushing it, and you're right. You know, there's
right. But what we felt we could add more was at the top to give you more a greater surface area to
purchase of the fence. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And then we coupled that with a serration. So if you're pulling on the top edge of the trigger, you're not slipping off of it. Not that would happen regularly, but we found that it felt better, gave us more ease of walking the trigger regardless of wrist position, angle, length of pull on the gun, so length of your tank, all those things. We found it was just overall a better feel when you're walking the trigger.
I'm telling you right now, the Lux Air with this blade feels Perfect. The other thing is, and I've talked with a lot of people about this, with the Lux Air, with this kind of pretty aggressive back scoop and or I guess what we're calling backstrap, humpback, you know, kind of the same type thing. For me, and maybe it's the size of my hand too, but one thing that I didn't like was with the S as well, you kind of had these two effects going in opposite direction. I just felt like my hand was further extended than I wanted it to be. For me personally, with the blade on this allows me to get a lot of purchase, but also be very close. Now, Joshua, I know you're a very, sorry, not the S, the Sith. That's, excuse me.
Yeah, the Sith. Yeah, I have kind of, like, I prefer a Sith trigger on the guns I typically, I've been shooting.
What do you, Joshua, do you have the Sith on your Lux?
No, I have the, yes, I do.
Okay.
But I typically like the Sith on the Eclipse, but I think, like Gant was pointing out, the distance from the back of the grip, the back strap of the grip versus where the trigger is.
Yeah.
Like, I prefer this on this, but what I found was that the blade felt more comfortable on the Lux. And again,
100%.
The distance from the back strap to, I don't have the back strap on here.
Actually, Joshua, hold that back up. I think people, now don't get me wrong, that trigger still feels great. I think it also depends on the shape of your hand.
Yeah, size of your hand. These are all, and again, every person's not the same, every gun's not the same, so you kind of tailor, and that's why we got into the drops as well. It's like, well, okay, I like everything about this gun, but I can't get my face behind the gun to look down the center line of the barrel.
Yeah.
You know, and every person's different size, build, preference, all those kinds of things. So we're trying to tailor these parts for all of that. But yeah, I found that the Sith, again, I didn't prefer the feel of it. There was just something that didn't feel quite right. So I prefer the blade on this gun,
for sure,
whereas I prefer a Sith on the Eclipse guns.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Side note, that's the prototype drop on the Lux. You guys, so that's actually a couple components of the prototype drop. I want to touch on the whole drops. I know we're on triggers. Well, let's finish with the triggers and then we'll go into drops, Joshua. So a couple cool things. We've deep lasered the icon on the front, but also those serrations, not only from a tactile functional standpoint, I think they also create a really, really cool kind of iconic aesthetic. And I don't know, for this trigger just reminds me of like a King Cobra's. We actually named this one Cobra because it's kind of like a Cobra hood. But anyways, I think you guys will really like this. On the Lux Air, trust me, the blade on this is going to be awesome. So we're hoping to have these by Ohio. It's going to be a stretch. We're going to try. But come by the booth regardless. We'll probably have some things set up. You can feel some of these things. And, of course, you know, wherever we go in the future. But, yeah, so we've got the Sith and the blade and the Lux. So let's just talk. And, of course, we won't touch on it too much because we've done the same thing with the CS platform. Same thing. We've tailored the same designs for the kind of similar, the Lux and the the CS3 Pro. I think it's CS2 as well.
Yeah, I think so.
R5. Now, another cool thing that you guys, and Joshua, I'm glad you actually rotated this. Another cool thing that we did when we got the prototypes, obviously we've added a lot more material on these because they're wider at the top and they taper down to the bottom. I mean, they're pretty complex for a trigger, but one cool thing we did, and this was Joshua's great idea. Well, not only do we have a nice little clean chamfer there on the scoop out, but Joshua, rotate the back. We did this really large scoop cut on the back to really, you know, we didn't want this thing to feel sluggish either, right? So these actually have a really cool scoop cut on the back on all of them. So still reduces a lot of weight with them.
Yeah, because again, we wanted it to perform like a stock trigger that had less overall size, right? Because of the flare at the top of the trigger. But so we didn't want the weight of the trigger to slow down the responsiveness of the feel of the trigger. So we tried to remove as much weight with that back scoop that Gant was just talking about. Now,
I want to end this with probably what we should have started with. One of the main reasons we designed a trigger, not only did we want to start getting into designing triggers, but one of the main reasons that we made this trigger the way that it is, and I think when you guys start to get this out there and you start to feel it in person, one thing that Joshua and I didn't like was you had this, you know, and especially on the, especially on the Eclipse platform, you know, you have this very bulky front grip. You have this very bulky rear grip, but then you always have these little dainty triggers, right? Now, of course, there is safety concerns there for, you know, you want to be within the trigger guard. But for me, what I didn't like was you had this big front grip, this big rear grip, and this little tiny landing platform for the trigger. So there was just kind of felt like there was a disconnect. I think when you guys hear what I'm saying and you guys actually start to feel this, you feel this connection between the back, the trigger, and this, to where it feels like the whole gun is in kind of unison, right? Like you have a nice landing platform, like you're trying to hit this little tiny window, right? It just feels a lot more connected.
Easier to use, easier to walk.
Yeah.
More comfortable, right?
Correct. Exactly.
And we're hoping all that equates to better performance when you get it out in the field or wherever. But
yeah. And again, the performance comes down to, hey, do you feel comfortable shooting the gun you're shooting, right? That's really, I mean, of course, that's the first step. Like, and again, a lot of these things that we're going to talk about, whether it be drops, we have a ton of things we're not going to talk about yet, but there's a whole ecosphere within this realm. But yeah, you guys know, I mean, when you hold every part of this, depending on how you play, depending on how your style and everything, like you want to feel good at every one of these ways, right? So go ahead, Joshua. You want to talk about the single?
Oh, I thought that's what you're leading up to. So yeah, some of the design language, some of the features were also kind of driven by the single. We wanted an easier trigger to pull for mech guns as well. So the wider flare, the taper down to the size of the trigger guard. This is still obviously in development. We're still prototyping this one, but it's similar with the Lux. We found the mech CS frame and the electric CS frame. Obviously, they only did the electric CS frame.
Which you have the electric frame there, Joshua.
Yes, I do. Right here.
We were joking earlier, guys, that like our desks have been blown apart. We need to start getting some like gun walls, and it's just.
Yeah, there's barrels and tanks and parts and guns. Like I have to be careful getting out of my desk. But the pivot point was different. So we were trying to design something that would get all the way down to the trigger guard, give you as much real estate for whatever scenario. 1 finger, 2 fingers, middle finger, left, right. Yep. Pulling it, you're tucked in your weird bunk or weird stack of sticks in a woods ball event or whatever. Sometimes the perfect grip isn't always there, so we wanted to give as much ability to pull the trigger effectively as possible.
For sure.
So the flare, the serrations on the sides, all those things we looked at.
Now the other cool thing too that probably the main focus of this thing is the trigger's almost flat.
Yeah, so it's flat faced.
It's actually flat, which feels really cool, you guys. We actually looked at a whole bunch of different concepts, but we actually really like this flat face. It's a lot wider. A lot of people have been asking us for flat triggers.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one. I can't wait till again, it's only the two of us, so need more time in the day, more days in the week, more months.
If we could have prototypes by Pittsburgh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that's our goal.
Yeah.
Try to get there.
So we won't speak about it, but we actually have some other cool things that we're working on for the Eclipse platform. So we'll just leave it at that. We'll see how those turn out. We hope that these sessions become like a cool time that you guys can kind of, again, we eventually want to get into these lives. I'm not even sure how we do it, Joshua. We got to figure out how to have a meeting, but also be able to stream it live between two. So we'll figure that out. But yeah, it'd be awesome to take you guys' questions. And so anyways, triggers. So we've moved into a lot of triggers. We are looking at LV triggers as well. Just go ahead and tell you guys that. We're working on some stuff with that. Now, in terms of comfortability, I just want to kind of preface this. Back in the day, and when we say back in the day, I mean in the late 90s, early 2000s, I mean, everybody shot a drop of some shape or form. I mean, you went as extreme as the cap drop zones with the flames and, the cradles and all the other crazy stuff. But even past that era, I remember in the early X-Ball days, like everybody shot a shock tech drop or, either a forward or a reverse just to get a little bit of separation down, right? And everybody had a drop of some sort, right? And there were dovetail mounts and all sorts of things. But I think what has happened is we've had this whole, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? There's been some in Eclipse and Lux and all these great companies have been at the forefront of like some of the just awesome stuff that we have today. But I think over time, you know, some of this stuff just got so compact, and the feed necks and the, you know, the drops and everything's just, you know, flush mount, and, you know, and again, it's also like, hey, if you have a drop back in the day, you had to make sure all your screws were tightened, because if they weren't, like, you know, you know, everything was shaking around. Go ahead, Joshua. Did you want to add something to this? Or
yeah, for sure. And I always speculate, it was like, was it? I think some of those giant drops were driven by the people that, you know, when people really started shooting a lot of paint, right? So they got the bigger tank with the big regulators, so they had to do it right. And I think it became popular. It's like, oh, the pros are using drop. This is all speculation on my part. Who knows?
Wait, hold on. You are right. Back up. We forgot. I mean, you got to talk. We got to distinguish which time period. I mean, people were shooting 114, so you had to have.
Yeah, there's no way you're putting a 114 off the back of a gun.
Watermelon tank.
But so I think it was oh, look, the pros are using a drop, I need a drop. So I think that's why I never understood the drop with a smaller tank. I was kind of going the opposite direction.
Well, again, and that's the cool thing about paintball, you know, is there are
it's all preference, like we talked about earlier.
There are so many styles and way people hold the guns, body types. I mean, large, small, you know, again.
Well, that's another great point. Like, bunkers were also two-dimensional. You had a piece of plywood in this. I mean, think about was it Turtles versus what was that game?
Rage.
Was it Rage? I don't remember. It was the black and or the red and blue and white.
Red and blue, right? Yeah.
So I mean, you're playing up against a two-dimensional bunker, so you were constantly trying to tuck everything in tight.
That's what I was just about to add. Is back in the day, I mean, people had the drops for that, and again, we all shot them. Long story short, guys, I think that over time, and again, the other thing too is a lot of the manufacturers started extending the grip frames, right? So there were a lot of benefits, but I think what happened over the last period of time is that Josh and I had been talking about this, and we're like, hey man, you know, like, this would be a lot more comfortable if we just dropped this down a little bit, or we did this, you know, and that's really kind of some of the, you know, we're leading off of kind of some of our interests and things. And I think that with how complex for the internal air passages and all the other stuff, it's not as easy as just machining an aluminum, you know, a piece, right? And again, Joshua will tell you, like, to do the drops for the CS platforms, I mean, it's a lot more complication. There's multiple pieces, there's longer screws, there's an extender. I mean, there's a lot going on there, right? And you know, of course,
air through and the rigs and
see the extra seals. Not only that, and you guys, a lot of you have been following us by now, we are adamant about aesthetics as much as it is about a performance. So whatever it is, and we've told you guys this before, like, look, it's cliche to say, but if it's not badass to us, it's not going to be badass to you, right? So if it's not badass here, it doesn't leave the door, right? So we want to make the coolest, you know, it's got to work as well as it looks. The point that I'm getting at is, you know, all of these very cool, complex turns, you guys, and actually I'm on the website here looking at the drop, but, you know, we really wanted this to match up as best we could to the Eclipse ASAs, which change over the course of R5, CS, CS3, right? There's little minute changes, but long
we're
story.
Seeing that with the L4 LVs as well, because we're looking at, like Gant said, we've looked at the Lux Air, we've looked at the LV2, which we've teased. We're also looking at other earlier, older platforms, other platforms, you know, across the board. But
so we have a drop reinsurgence coming, you guys. So appreciate all you guys who pre-ordered these and reached out. Wanted to show you a couple cool things that we did with the prototype drops that we had. And again, appreciate Attktx athlete Tom Guest for shooting the prototype, Daniela from Heroines, and also from Aftershock. Let's see who else. RT from Iconic is shooting one. Obviously, Joshua has one. I have one. So there's just a few floating around out there. But appreciate you guys kind of help supporting some of the development. One of the things that we did for the production model is we've done a whole bunch of pocket milling. Not that it was heavy. It's just, of course, this is an add-on piece, but we want to make this thing as light, aesthetically pleasing, and, you know, as functionally proper as we possibly can. So we went through here and added, of course, a ton more time, a ton more machining. But this thing is very heavily pocketed from the original run. So anyways, those are going to be very cool. Again, I'm hoping to have these by Ohio. I hope we can pull that off for you guys. So anyways, drops. And again, like Joshua said, we have the CS platform, CS, CS3, CS3 Pro, R5, which all takes the same one. We have multiple finishes available in that. Joshua, show them the silver real quick. I don't think people have seen the dust silver that you have behind you. This one actually looks really clean. And you guys can see some pictures of this on Tom's gun too.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Tom has the same. Wow, that sun's not helping.
To be honest with you, Joshua, we've matched this thing so well. If you really didn't know it was there, and actually, to believe it, to be honest, I remember when we showed this off in Tampa, a lot of people didn't even know what they were looking at until they realized that we had a drop there.
Right, right. Oh.
I mean, it just seamlessly blends on there. So, of course, this has longer screws. We'll have that in your guys' kits. But I think you guys will find, especially for people who like to have their position a little bit more comfortable, and especially for larger players, like you guys are going to love this. I take that back. There's one other guy shooting one, and it's Thomas that from the Twister camp. So he gave us some really cool feedback. He really liked the product.
Just for reference, that's our prototype of the Scythe Clips trigger. I can't really zoom in on it.
Early prototype.
Yeah.
Looks good. So drops. Again, we'll just go through the drops real quick. Joshua, you want to show them the Lux again one more time?
Sure. I don't have a font. Well, so functionally we're done, or we've got it figured out. But we have to do what we have to finish is the cosmetic piece that blends the grip to the ASA. But the functional parts of the drop, so the air transfer tube that's up inside here and the actual drop itself are figured out. So we're almost there on this one. A few challenges to make it look correct and be able to be assembled, but that one's about there for sure.
Yeah, we got a couple ideas for that. So you guys hang tight with that. We're working through kind of getting a good solution for that. And then, of course, we've got the entire. I love the LV. The LV is such an amazing gun. Planet Eclipse just killed that gun. It's such a smooth shooting gun. And you guys can see. So we have 2 new drops coming out for the LV2. We have a 1/2 inch, and we also have a 1/4 inch. Joshua's got the 1/2 inch on there, and you prefer the 1/2 inch, Joshua.
On the LV, I'm not sure. The LV is about a 1/2 inch taller, centerline of tank, centerline of barrel, than the CS platform. So I think if you were to run the 1/4 inch drop, it would be equal to our CS with the 1/2 inch drop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the stack of the tubes is higher.
Yeah. And ironically, you can stack the drop. So if you wanted more than what, if you wanted a full inch on your CS, you'd have to find the hardware it would be 2 inch long. I think that's right. 2 inch long bolts.
Actually, back up. You can do that on other drops as well. You're not going to be able to do that on the Lux though, but you can do it on the other.
I think you could, but don't go. I think so. If you stacked enough, you might have a problem with the air transfer tube.
Yeah, you'd have to have a custom air transfer tube. Joshua, shoulder that one. Let's see how that one looks.
So yeah, this one's really nice. And again, what we're talking about is getting the butt of the tank into your shoulder pocket and then getting your eyes on centerline of the barrel. And what we found with the other guns is, like Gant pointed out, they've gotten so compact and refined. And again, don't get me wrong, it's amazing. Like holding the different generations of guns, like even an E-blade frame versus a CS frame, like the comfort, the comfortability, and the ergonomics are off the charts better.
Joshua, let me just, before you go into that, let me just touch on that. That is not a knock in any way to any of the gun manufacturers, Planet Eclipse, Lux, any of these guys. What we're simply trying to do is make components and accessories that offer a little bit more customization, a little bit more preference, and a little bit more individuality, basically.
Yeah, again, all these refinements have just improved. Again, like I hit it on the grip frames. Like grabbing my E-blade on my autococker over there versus grabbing my Eclipse CS3 frame, like you can tell that they've evolved, right? But they've also kind of evolved to the point where it fits most people perfectly, but not all people. And that's what a lot of our products do, is it allows you to tailor a platform to fit you specifically. Correct.
Yeah. No, that one looks really good. Well, the other thing too, and we didn't really talk about this, especially with how many people are rocking Flexes again, you guys. The problem too is because the Flex has a really, most of the goggles actually kind of have a contour like this, right? Most of the new age goggles, the Flex, which is a really cool, just iconic design, the face shield's still pretty vertical. So what happens to, you guys know, you're trying to get in tight to the gun. It's very compact. The tanks have gotten larger. I cannot stand when I'm trying to get in to get comfortable to get that shot and it's hitting the face shield of the flex. I can't stand it. It's just because it shifts my focus. It shifts, again, it's just a distraction that you don't want out there.
Right. Well, and it was funny, like when I first started playing again, I took about a 7-year break from paintball. But like I picked up a CS and I was instantly shooting high because the natural position of the tank and where my face would hit the tank put the barrel higher. So I was like coming back out of retirement, I was always shooting high initially till I got used to either rolling the tank out to get my face more behind it or just compensating for that difference between the center line of the barrel and my eye center line, right?
Gotcha.
But yeah, again, it's preference. It's do any of these things work? Yeah, they work absolutely. People have been using all these platforms, Dye, Flux, Planet Eclipse,
for sure,
at the highest levels and winning for sure.
Yeah. The coolest thing is, especially when we showed this off in Tampa, how many people were like, "Man, that feels amazing!" Like that was a smart thing on our part to bring, even if it was a 3D printed prototype, to let people get a feel for what it felt like, and it was very cool to see that. So again, I think a lot of you guys that are waiting on these, you're gonna love them. I think they feel really great. For the LV2 currently, we've got a 1/2 inch and a 1/4 inch. You'd be surprised how much that little bit just helps. So.
And again, if you need more, most of these can be stacked.
Yeah, you can actually stack it. You just need more seals and longer screws. But so we're actually looking at the rest of the LV series. So we'll just kind of tease a little bit at that.
Yeah, thanks to our good friend Zach.
Yeah, thank you very much, Zach.
I've got 3 samples to
appreciate you, Zach.
Some prototyping for sure. Here's 2 of them.
Yeah, thanks to Zach, and also thanks to our families, because any paintball player knows, like, once you dive into one project, there's an amount of parts, tools, space that is needed for that one thing, and then you add on others, and next thing you know, you're out of control, So, but anyways, so what do you think, Joshua? You want to go into what, loader accessories, or what else do we have there?
What else? We went barrels, drops, triggers. Yeah, I guess any future projects you want to hit on?
Yeah, so a couple of the cool things, you guys. We released a whole bunch of JT plugs. So we have 3 different styles in those. They're all they're deep laser engraved. So they're actually, I haven't seen a lot of people do deep laser in those, which is very cool. We actually did a lot of things on the plugs. They are they're contoured in a way so that you guys know, a lot of the same design has that very big bulbous look. It's very easy to kind of insert between the 2 halves. The thing that bothered me is I didn't like this big pearl sitting in here. Like, just, I don't know, just for me, it's just like distracting.
The intrusion inside the mask.
Yeah, I just didn't like these big bulbs on the inside. So we actually, you guys can see, these are very, very low profile. Actually here, this is a better one for you to see here. You can kind of see how low profile these are. So the contour allows you to easily snap through the different sections, but very low profile on the inside. You really won't even notice it, especially depending on the color that you do. So 3 different designs, 2 different deep laser, one's that's kind of a completely recessed, where the Attktx icon is actually raised, is what we call it. And then the other one, which is where the icon is recessed. Really cool, a lot of different colors. Think you guys will like those. There may be some other cool stuff coming, there may not, we'll have to see. But those are gonna be really cool to have out. We have those ready to shipping. Thank you everybody who pre-ordered those. So let's go into our other venture here recently. So a couple things. I want to kind of preface this project. So carbon loaders, you guys have seen them. We're actually a carbon sponsored team. So as far as the tactics, and you guys can always see us shooting these in the video, make a really good loader, very sound. Love the aluminum feed neck. The rate of fire on this, the feed rate on this thing is insane. A lot of great features. I mean, it has basically everything that you need. I actually really like the back opening. I think it's very, very simple. But one of the problems that we had, not really a problem, but it was like when we played the tournament as a Attktx, like everybody had their matching CS3 Pro Delta gun and the loader and everything. It was like we didn't even know whose was whose. So like Josh and I, like, hey, Joshua, go ahead, Joshua. We were basically
so we thought, hey, what could we customize it, right? So you could have your name and or whatever you want it technically.
Correct. Yeah, so we were like, hey, there's some really nice accessories for these. They're really nice loaders. So the idea, guys, is that we developed basically what we call the DVR billet kit and
trim kit. Yeah,
trim kit. There's basically 3 styles, and one of the styles is all blacked out. And the funny thing is, a lot of people didn't even really notice this. If you go back through every video that we've shot on our social media recently, you can actually see the loader. It's actually blacked out. I don't think a lot of people noticed it, but we had already been working on the buttons and, kind of the bezels and everything. And a lot of people like that blacked out, no logo look, right? So you're going to have that option. Okay. The other cool thing about those is if you want to then, if you have access to a laser, and who knows, it may be something that we do in the future where, if we can get things set up, we can, maybe laser those for you guys or figure that out. But you can always laser those with your team name or number. So you can kind of customize it to, have it more personalized. The other cool thing is you can anodize them if you want. So if you want to color match your build or your gun to your loader and all that, I think it's gonna be really cool when people see that. But the other thing that we did is so we have a version that has the Attktx on the small side and then the blank on the other. And then of course, we actually connected with Twister, saw that they had this really cool project coming out. Well, we let them know that we had ours and we linked up with Anthony and we were able to pull that off in time. Those are going to be really, really awesome. Of course, they've got the DRV built in. So as you can see here, you've got an aluminum left plate, aluminum right plate. We've got custom screws for those. You have a new aluminum button on the rear that has a nice chamfer and it's very clean. We've also, or Josh, I'll let you speak to some of this.
Yeah, and then we did the rear bezel or display plate as well. And Gant was kind of saying, alluding to this earlier, where you can have an all blacked out look. The other thing is these are aluminum, so you can send this trim kit in with your gun to get a custom anodized, and now you've tied your loader aesthetic to your gun's aesthetic, right? Well, so if you have a splash or you have a particular gold, red, pink, blue, whatever color you like, acid washes, splashes, you can tie your loader to it and get that extra level of customization. And again, this is all, what's the silly saying? Paintball is half a fashion show or something like that.
Hey man, the saying, look good, play good, and it's true.
Yeah, right? Yeah, maybe that's what it is, right? Look good, play good.
And there is a lot of truth in that, and a lot of people will tell you that, right? Of course,
confidence, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, I think for this, like you said, I can't wait to see a color match build to the loader. It's going to be awesome, plus with some custom laser engraving or, it's going to look dope. But what I was trying to get at as well was another thing that we did is we made sure that the tolerance for the button to the bezel is a very clean. So you're going to have movement there, but it's going to be a very kind of more crisp. And Joshua, show them the move the screen to a straight on view. I want to show them kind of. So we've prototyped the left and the right left and right bezel. We've prototyped the buttons. The only thing that we haven't received yet is actually the prototype of the an aluminum prototype of the rear bezel. And so we put some nice machining marks in there. One thing that we, of course, want to execute when we deliver this is that if you guys have ever taken this apart, there's these little locking tabs on the top corners. And of course, in the aluminum version, as opposed to the plastic, you don't have the flex that you're going to have. So you guys can see they're very significantly reduced. We may even knock them off completely because the rigidity of the aluminum piece, you might not even need them. But this is just something that, of course, we didn't want to scratch the loader, the plastic. So this is one little detail that we're going to try and dial in. And of course, once we have that last prototype, we'll nail that in. But Josh and I think that we might not even need them. And with how rigid that U shape is, once you have those 2 screws in the back, you're probably not going to need it. But of course, we'll start here and we can always shave those off if we need it. Joshua, anything else that you wanted to add?
Only if you want to touch on any other related products.
Just go ahead and show it if you want to show this off.
Your call. So this is obviously still in development, but another trim piece that we originally, that we've also considered making would be the, again, to tie your loader to the gun, an aluminum bezel for your speed feed. So we probably won't do the entire thing, but at a minimum, we'll do this top ring so you can anodize this. We'll probably look at maybe doing some aluminum fingers as well. But as you can see on the screen, we'll have our delta triangle, the full, full 6061 or whatever grade aluminum that we settle on. I forget what we typically use. There's some refinements that still need to happen, but
I wouldn't think this would need anything but that.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty simple piece. It's just, again, an accent piece that you can anodize to match your gun, or just add a bit of a highlight color or whatever it is you're looking at.
I think it was TJ Heinmiller. I think that was his name. Data Paintball. He'll probably chime in. He was like, "Hey, all right." We always joke, you guys, that it's funny because we spend. I mean, you guys don't even know the time and effort to go into any of these pieces on the back end, and just the amount of time into these parts. But the funny thing we always joke is, like, when we release something, you guys are like, what about this? And I'm like, guys,
we're either like, yeah, we thought about it, but it doesn't make sense, or dang it, we're working on that, we can't say anything yet.
Right. Or it's like, you set us off on the next path. But
and there's instances where it's inspiration for the next product.
Oh yeah, for sure. So no, yeah, having you guys' feedback is very valuable, but it's just kind of funny how that works out. But anyway, so this will be kind of a cool piece. So what else we're going to talk about? You might as well, since this is kind of like a little bit of a show and tell. Well, show them your setups back there, Joshua.
So I've got our Delta CS3 Pro that has obviously our titanium back. We don't have our single yet, but our cool Delta pattern on the gun itself.
Yeah, and let me chime in real quick here, Joshua. You guys that are waiting on the last 10 CS3 Pros, I know we said middle of this month, but I know Eclipse has been very busy. They've had a lot of, you guys have probably seen it too. They've done a ton of sublimated. I've seen a ton of sublimated CS3 Pros lately. So I talked to Jacko not too long ago. I know that they were finishing up Deep Laser, and I know they were headed to the anodizer. So again, appreciate you guys' patience on those. I would hope here very soon we're going to have those come to us, and then I'll get them out to you guys. Really appreciate all you guys reaching out, and of course, you guys, as well as everybody else who is always very patient with us. I mean, we do our absolute best to get these things out as soon as possible. I mean, most of you guys have seen, I mean, we ship that day, the next day, or 2 days max, unless we're out. So, I mean, we try and get these things to you guys as soon as possible. But
props to Gant.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've done, since we've launched, we've shipped close to 2,000 packages. So that's pretty wild to think about. 2,000 packages. And excuse me, I just looked at that recently. That's actually just with USPS. So we also ship with FedEx, we ship with UPS, and we also ship with DHL. And shout out to our mail carriers, our UPS drivers. I mean, those guys and gals really are awesome. So so we teased that off. What was the Oh, Joshua, real quick, show them your loader. I wanted you guys to see here. So, like, again, if you want to put your logos on, of course, this is 3D printed, so it's a different material. But if you want to put your logos or your name or number, this is going to be a really cool thing. Or if you want to have it blacked out, you can have it that as well.
Right.
But
yeah, so like Jan was saying, we're offering a blank set.
Yeah.
So if you want to do your own, whatever, name, number, team, whatever you want, you can do. The sky's the limit, right? It's just gonna be a billet aluminum side plate with some custom hardware.
Yeah. Now I will add
plate and the top ring once we get it done.
Yeah, that's just going to be a separate thing, you guys. But the kits will come with the side plates, the rear bezel, and the matching buttons. Joshua, I wanted to add one thing there. And again, you guys, these things, everything here is very, very challenging. One of the challenges that we ran into on the loader is the curvature of the loader, right? We're making this out of aluminum. So there are some challenges there where, we've kind of hand bent them, kind of pre-bent them. We're working on we have a jig that we're going to basically try and do that. And keep in mind, depending on how many of those do, like, it's Josh and I assembling these things and that's just one item, you guys. So again, it's your guys' support and being patient with all this stuff and kind of supporting the projects that we do. It means everything to us. And it's because of you guys that this stuff even happens. It's just the fact of the matter, right? So I wanted to just say with the shorter size, the shorter side matches up no problem. With the longer size, because it's very long, we've got to actually put a little bit of a bend into it. So we have kind of a, you know, a fixture jig for those. But
and to that point, installation, we'll put out a video once we get closer to release. There's a trick to installing the curved aluminum. So the plastic obviously flexes, right? The aluminum flexes less. So there is a technique for getting the bosses into the loader.
Right.
And it's tight fit because the bosses actually angle in.
Right.
So you
like
start one, flex it out, start the second, and then put your hardware in.
Right. And you guys,
but yeah, we'll do a video for that once we get closer to release.
Right. And you can see the natural, you know, the flex in the mold basically when they injection molded these. Side note, and you guys, we've got a lot of kind of install and tech videos and stuff. And I really actually want to do a lot of videos, Joshua, of all of our old products like the autocockers and a lot of videos like Kai's. I mean, thank you. Shout out to all the autococker guys who've supported all the autococker stuff, from the titanium parts to the twisted pneumatics to everything that we've done autococker wise, to the titanium shafts, the three-way shafts, all those different things. So thank you guys. Gold chambers, Delta ZFRs. We've got a very small amount of Delta ZFRs. We have a very small amount of certain autococker parts left. Have some more of the cocking rods and stuff, so that's good because we invested in a lot of titanium parts for that. But that being said, what I was trying to get at is we also are going to shoot a video, and Joshua will probably do this because you've already pre-done it. When you add the drops to your cases, you're going to have to come through and cut out a little slot for your case. And actually think
we'll offer some kind of template or something. We'll put out some kind of template.
Yeah.
We have a few ideas there on what that template might look like, or we've teased or we've considered the idea of maybe an exchange program if you don't want to cut up your own case, but we'll see what happens in the future. It's not maybe, yeah. You guys all know paintballers, right? They're filthy.
Yeah. But I think, and you know, Anthony from Twister had a great suggestion. And we kind of talked about something similar, but Anthony was like, hey, you should 3D print a template. Because Joshua, you had talked about the little template piece, and maybe we could have a little insert in there if you didn't use it or not, you know, like the laser. Because, but basically, and Joshua, I'll keep talking if you want to go grab that.
Yeah.
What he's basically talking about, obviously, if you add a drop to your gun, guys, and you still want to put it in your factory case, you need to have just a little bit of cutout for that. So, you know, that EVA foam, we would just have to cut that piece out so that it can perfectly fit. So it's pretty easy to do generally. Like if you guys had a razor blade, you guys could do it. And Joshua will show you how clean this came out.
Yeah, I did this one, you know, quick and dirty, where I just measured down roughly ½ inch.
Yeah,
the height of the drop. Straight cut, and then followed the profile of the existing straight cut down to that ½ inch line, and then cut it straight across. You will see a little bit of where the foam ends at the bottom, but you know, if you want to use your stock case, this is a solution. So I can just throw it in there real quick.
Yeah. So I think that will be a kind of quick, helpful thing. Yeah, I like that. I like that black and silver combo. It looks good.
Yeah, it's good looking gun for sure. Yeah, I'm a little jealous of all the guys that got the silver Delta CS3 Pros.
I'm trying to think about how many there were. I think there's like 5, 6.
Did we do 6 and then one got anodized?
One got anodized. Yeah, so
you see our ½ inch drop, and then obviously the standard drop. Or the standard ASA sits lower, but it fits in the case pretty nicely.
Yeah. So we'll do a video on that. So a couple of the cool things. So flashback to April Fools, you guys. Joshua and I, well, real quick, you guys have seen this on our social media. It kind of went pretty viral. So anyways, we were talking about what did we want to do for kind of a April Fool's funny thing. And I think, Joshua, we originally were talking about the loader, right? We were like,
yeah, you were like, hey, we need to think of something for April Fool's. And I'm like, it's got to be something tied to one of our products that's just absurd.
Wait, back up. For whatever reason, it just went off of my radar that the next day was April Fool's. I was like, we got to do something.
Yeah. It was. I think it was. I was out. It was me and my wife's anniversary.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, we touched base that night because I'm pretty sure we got the jump on most everybody that morning. I mean, we were the first ones to hit that. But anyways, but go ahead.
Yeah. Again, props to Gant. Like I'm like, hey, it needs to be absurd. You know what would, and it has to be based on a product. And we just done our titanium barrels, and there was the I don't know if you want to call it drama or whatever, but HK released a similar skeletonized back, which was funny because Gant was a fan of the hex pattern. That was our first design. Yeah. And we wound up releasing our Delta pattern because like, hey, it's our logo. Why not put our logo in?
Well, now
go ahead.
No, not well. We'll touch on that whole separate subject. But go ahead, John. Go ahead.
But anyway, I was like, oh, what would be absurd? A skeletonized loader, and it's like, oh no, one up, a skeletonized tank, which would be impossible, right? You can't have it.
Amanda had that idea.
She had the infinite air quote idea, I think.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, unlimited air or whatever.
You guys, you know, the funny thing is like either Joshua's wife Amanda or my wife Michelle, who a lot of you guys have met at World Cup and different events. They always come through with like a really unique or good idea. Like, I don't know if a lot of you, just as kind of a side note, in the Delta ZFR, how we accommodated multiple actuating rod diameters, because there's a lot of different ones, was we put an O-ring in for one size and we took the O-ring out for another size. And that was actually my wife's idea, because I had kind of like gotten her down this thinking path where she was like, let's just put an O-ring in there because it's the simplest thing. But anyways, but the infinite air, that was funny. So so the idea was
we had the skeletonized barrel, so it made sense. And Gant jumped on and whipped up. You used AI, right, to kind of create?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time to try and get that just right. I think it was very cool. But yeah, it's actually a very cool concept. Who knows? Maybe not in today's day and age, but at one point in the future, right? You have this skeletonized tank that gives you the positioning that you want, but you have this natural infinite air coming through a compressor, right? Or
miniaturized compressor technology.
The funny thing is, like when we released that, a lot of people, some people were like, what is that? I mean, it definitely took people by surprise, but also a lot of people were like, oh, that's funny as hell. But then a lot of people were like, dude, like you need to make that. And then a lot of people were like, hey, like this needs to be a tank cover. I can't tell you how many people were like, hey, you guys need to make a tank cover out of this.
Well, I think we even talked about it. It's like, this is too funny not to try and do something with, but
yeah.
But so we've been playing in that space. Early prototypes, obviously.
Joshua, sure, come to the camera more with us. You can see a little bit closer.
A lot to figure out for the tank cover.
And guys, we've just been playing with some of this stuff. I mean, some of these could be silicone. Some of these could be a combination. Some of these could be a printed.
We talked about a printed version on neoprene. So you have your low profile, old school neoprene cover.
There's a lot of things that it could be, right?
Yeah. So whether we do, the other thing is like, what tanks does it fit? A lot of tanks I believe have the same diameter.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be a universal one that we can do. A project that's still underway, but
yeah.
China, let us know if we get enough interest, then we'll definitely go that direction. Yeah, we'll probably make one either way, but
yeah. Well, we were like, hey, we've got to make one to just have as a display. I think it'd be very cool.
All right.
We were going to spray paint it silver and have people come to the booth and be like, oh, and a lot of people are like, you got to 3D print one. So anyway,
yeah, maybe we'll 3D print like a fake tank that's actually skeletonized. That would be kind of cool, just as a for fun display piece. But
yeah. So I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things we can't talk about yet, but just really. Oh, let me back up. Okay, so. Anyways, yeah. Side note, I won't touch on it too much, but yeah. So we brought out the skeletonized barrel, and I want to go back. I don't know if we've had this conversation, but I can't remember the last time we did one of these. One of the and actually, let me grab one here real quick. Guys, I just want to tell you, because I don't think a lot of people know the inspiration behind why we made this barrel back. Early on, I mean, of course, we want to look at stuff like this, but early on, Josh and I were like, you know, and of course, shout out to Dye. I mean, I don't know. Dye was definitely one of the first companies to do titanium, but who knows? J&J and some of these other companies, maybe, I don't know, but for sure. And look, back in the day when Dye released the titanium boomstick, like, look, I couldn't afford that thing. I loved it. It was badass. I couldn't afford one at the time, but
well, and you think about those old school stainless steel Dye barrels, they were heavy.
Oh man, dude! Like when you
so
when
the
you,
titanium was still it was still heavy, but it was lighter than their standard.
When you grab an old boomstick, I mean that thing is just bulletproof, you know. But anyways, long story short,
yeah, I think I rocked. Side note, I think I rocked a Labco.
Let me grab some here.
What was it? The Auto Spirit, I think is what they called it, or whatever, the 679, which was tiny back then.
You know what?
Full stainless barrel that was just so heavy.
Labco, yeah. Well, we shot with Paintball Atlanta and Team Extreme around our field. Very big was BOA, Barrels of America.
Okay.
But anyways, while we're on this whole show and tell, good thing we're doing this. You know, actually, anyways, I actually just want to show this off. I love this Dye barrel. These are pretty rare to find. I've maybe seen one other online just recently, but and maybe somebody from Dye or maybe Chris can chime in for this. Shoot, maybe Davey Williamson or Matty Marshall, some of these guys, but I think that this version of the aluminum boomstick was the first aluminum generation past the stainless. And anyways, long story short, this was a glued barrel. I separated it. I can't remember who did this for me, but threaded it for Dye ULI, or not ULI, but UL tips back in the day, and then of course freak boarded at the time. But long story short, how the titanium back going is, I've shot this barrel, and you know, shout out to Fab at Meteor. This is the Meteor G series. We've got all the Attktx pneumatics, the twisted pneumatics, titanium pump arms, cocking rods, you know, just all sorts. Shout out to Chris Nelson for doing a lot of these custom features. You know, got the vertical bolt pin. I mean, I love this gun. This gun is awesome. But anyways, I've always been kind of biased to this, and so when Josh and I started talking, what I noticed was that everybody wanted to shoot these titanium backs, but you can't freak bore them. You can't machine them. None of the guys want to freak bore them. It's just too difficult, break too much tooling. It's too slow. It's too difficult. Right. And of course, you know, I'd love to see some of the old titanium boomsticks on Angels and all that kind of stuff. But long story short, this project got going because Josh and I started talking about, hey, wouldn't it be awesome if we made a modernized titanium back that accepted the new ecosphere of PWR, and of course Joshua was very adamant about doing S63, which I agree with him because there's a lot of compatibility out there. And shout out to Jack Wood for, you know, kind of, you know, giving us some help along the way to kind of, you know, make sure that fit was perfect for fitting on those barrels, which is very cool of him to make sure that you know, everything is compatible. We really appreciate that. But so then once we started going, we were like, well, hey, let's make it out of titanium and let's skeletonize it to hell and back. And then of course we kind of came up with the Delta pattern. Joshua had a really cool idea to put our icon in every single one of the triangles. And let me back up just a little bit more. Actually, one of the first ideas that we started with was the hex design. We were going to release the hex design first, but then we thought, because, and Josh was very adamant about this, and I completely agree, is that because we could fit our icon into every one of these triangle designs, that we released this one first. So we went ahead and did that. Lo and behold, a little bit later at World Cup, we see that HK had released the aluminum version. Is what it is. I won't comment too much on it. It is what it is. But anyways, so yeah. And I just want to tell you guys, like, for example, this version here, there's 80 machined holes in grade 5 titanium. There's 4 machine logos. There's 3 sets of separate threads, as well as the first strike rounds. I mean, again, you want to talk about kind of like a over-the-top custom, and we wanted these to be kind of like a statement piece for our brand. Like, what, you know, nobody in their right mind machines 80 holes, 4 logos into a piece of grade 5 titanium and tries to sell it to paintball players, right?
I think that's what manufacturers like. Can you reduce the number of holes? Is one of the main questions they ask.
Right, and you know, so again, we wanted these to be over the top. They're meant to be over the top. Of course, we wanted to be able to do the titanium anodizing. Shout out to the companies that we've worked with in the beginning, I've actually been doing a lot of the titanium anodizing myself, and lot to learn in that. Some really cool stuff. I've done a lot of titanium anodized backs for a lot of you guys. Appreciate you guys wanting the custom stuff. There's a lot to learn there, and Josh and I hope to do a lot more cool. We have a lot of cool titanium stuff coming out. But I just wanted to give some background on the titanium backs. So yes, they are meant to be over the top, ridiculous. They're expensive. They're badass. There's only 500 of them, and these are one of those pieces that I think people will sell guns throughout the years, but they're going to keep the titanium back because this thing can look so cool on so many different guns. So like, I mean, that's one of the benefits about having the Lux Air. You got the new Cocker threads now.
And to picking the platform we picked, right? Like it was, like Ant mentioned earlier, there's a whole bunch of aftermarket tips available. The industry's kind of adopted the PWR as far as inserts go. Obviously, there's old stock of XL, and there's still the, you can still get the, what's the Field One AccuLock? That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
There's still the AccuLock inserts, but as far as like commonality, and that's the other thing, is like, especially, you know, paintball is getting past that newbie sport, you know, where guys, I think that's why nostalgia is more of a thing now. It's like guys that played 20 years ago are now getting back into it, and they're going, oh, I've got all these guns. It's nice to be able to grab an old gun and put a current barrel system on it. Right? For sure. Not have to buy a whole new barrel system or a whole new set of inserts. It's like, I've got a good set of inserts. I just need a different tip, or maybe I have a tip that matches the gun and a back that accepts all of it. It was the universality, I guess you could say, if that's a word, of that platform, which is another thing that kind of, at least for me, drew me to it.
Yeah,
like,
no,
we had a lot of people ask about the ULI platform, the ULI Threaded, which doesn't make. We might eventually, maybe. I probably shouldn't say this. Do a titanium ULI back, and I say that more so now because we did the Lux. So again, it's a Cocker threaded back that accepts a different tip.
Yeah,
we kind of went against what we originally our design intent originally. But again, if there's enough interest, we'll do it. We have the time to design it, and there's the demand. I mean, that's kind of what we like doing, is making products for people that enjoy them, right?
For sure.
Making the best product we possibly can for people to enjoy it.
I'll be honest with you. I'd love to see one of these in Angel. I'd love to see one of these in some of the old school Angels.
Now, Angel, that's the problem. How many different Angel threads? There's at least 2 that I know of.
Well, look, look, I won't touch on it too much more, but there's a lot of stuff we could do. There's a lot of stuff we want to do. There's a lot of stuff we probably should do. So there's a lot of, and again, you know, we're learning, and you know, we're only capable of so much, but we always try and take your opinions, your feedback, and your input, you know, to use and to heart, and things to think about, right? So I also wanted to touch on one other thing. The reason we went with titanium, because we've skeletonized this thing significantly. Okay, so look, I just want to make this very clear. You guys know this. Like, we don't, and I don't think any paintball manufacturer, let me back up with that. We design things to be as durable and strong, and we try and take into account everything possible, right? Like we don't want something to blow up on you. We don't want something to bend on you. We don't want, like, we you know, wall thicknesses. We pay a lot of attention to all of those details, right? Trust me, we have those conversations, you know, daily sometimes. That being said, if you guys go dive and you hit your barrel into the dirt, and you face plant with all your weight, or your arm or your shoulder or whatever, nobody designs anything to withstand that, right? If we wanted to do that, we'd make everything out of steel, and you know, we'd call it a day.
Bigger than it is.
Thomas Hara is a case in point, right? Like, if you put your barrel into the dirt and you take the wrong dive and you tank yourself, chances are either something on your body's going to break or something on the gun's going to break, right? Whether it be a bottom line, or a frame, or a barrel back, or this, or a feed neck, or a loader. I mean, dude, like, how many Halo loaders did we break feed necks off of?
Or the eggs are famous for breaking, right? But to your point, like,
yeah,
as things have gotten refined and gotten more ergonomic and lighter, there's a trade-off between durability and lightweight, right? Like,
sure.
You see a lot of bent barrel. I feel like you see more bent barrels than you did in the past. But bent, you know, barrels have gotten, again, lighter, thinner, more refined.
And I mean, I've seen everything under the sun. I've seen tips break. I've seen backs break. I've seen everything but the thread break off from the gun itself. I was in Brazil, saw a player do that. I've seen every grip frame you can imagine bend, break off. The Thomas Harrell one was pretty wild, but again, probably also a blessing in disguise, because if that grip frame doesn't break, is it your shoulder?
Collarbone.
Is it your collarbone? Which I've broken my collarbone before, and it is not fun. You can't move anything. But anyways, I just wanted to get at, like, some guys will be like, oh, I've seen these bend. Well, number one, knock on wood, I haven't seen a titanium back bent yet. I wouldn't recommend it.
We probably will eventually, just because.
Yeah, it's the nature of the beast. But that being said, I have heard of a lot of the other versions being broken. So make sure that you guys understand that one is one and one is the other. But it's not to say that.
Oh yeah, no, I think we got that compliment. Somebody said they saw our back.
Yeah. One
of our backs had broken. To our knowledge, nobody. I think they would tell us, "Hey, I broke your barrel." Yeah. But as far as now, we're not as big as these other companies, so maybe we just don't have enough of them out there yet. But
maybe not.
But I think, again, you can break anything if you hit it hard enough.
Yeah, and again,
the point I think Gant's trying to make. We haven't seen any of our stuff break just yet. Again, knock on wood, fingers crossed, and we'll do our best to take care of everybody. But
yeah, well, we
keep it in perspective, huh?
Trust me, when we first brought this out, aluminum versions and different things, hex pack, we had all these ideas, right? And of course, things take time. We want to do the things the way that we want to release them. And of course, we don't control other companies and other things, but it is what it is. But again, we wanted to make this out of the highest grade material that we possibly could, while having it light, by having it skeletonized. So that's why we chose titanium for these. I just want to give some more feedback, because I think we wanted to. I don't think we've been so busy we hadn't even had a chance to kind of talk about the whole last round of stuff that we've done. But side note, you guys who have also been waiting on these, we also have the pre-2K LPCs coming out. Probably a week or two. I'm just waiting on. I'm waiting on the polished LPCs to come back. Headband Heroes, really cool Headband Hero stuff coming out, guys. So we just want to thank everybody who supported us with Headband Heroes. I mean, I don't know specifically. I think there's a couple thousand of Headband Heroes out there in the wild at this point.
Over 1,000, I think.
I think approaching the next round. And just want to say thank you guys for that. So cool to have you guys come pick these up at events, see you guys wearing these things, you're enjoying them. The compliments that you guys are like, hey, these are the most comfortable that I've had. I don't have to worry about my band. I don't have the headaches. Like, that's super cool. It's super cool to hear, super cool to see. But really cool Headband Hero stuff coming out. A lot of cool collab stuff, maybe some new products.
All of the above.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff there. So, again, I hope this doesn't become like a cold tease fest for you guys. I mean, hopefully you can see that there's several things in here that we haven't even shown off that you can see. But we just wanted to make these some sessions where you guys can kind of get to know us more, get to know about the products, get to know some more detail about the stuff, and kind of see our thought process into some of this stuff. Anything else you thinking about, Joshua?
I mean, there's lots of stuff, but we can't talk about it.
Anything else that you wanted to touch on? I think we've done pretty good. I mean, I'm looking forward to doing.
Oh, sorry. I was saying, I think my favorite post was somebody said something about, I don't know if it was like my wallet's hurting or whatever, and you were like, was it? I can't remember if they said, I hope you don't have any more products or something, but you're like, buckle up.
Buckle up, you guys, because we're grinding, and we are running at a pace that we want to make cool stuff. We want to make all the stuff. We want to we want to make all the stuff. We want to have cool stuff. We want to shoot it. And you guys got to remember, Joshua and I are players, right? Like, half of this stuff is Joshua or myself and be like, dude, like, I want this. Like, we need to make this happen. Like, this would be so cool. And then
what sucks about paintball is this thing. Let's do something better.
yeah, and that's how a lot of these ideas start. So anyways, been really fun to do this again. I know people enjoy this. I know that we enjoyed this. I know we probably should have recorded like the 2 hours that we talked before this, but hopefully we can do some better stuff like this in the future, and kind of some more Q&A stuff. And again, I just want to thank all of you guys for supporting our brand and supporting our products and having interest in them. I want to thank you for being patient for any of the processes, whether it be customer service, whether it be shipping, whether it be product development, whether it be any of those stages, whether it be questions, all of that stuff. We talk to you guys multiple times a day from around the world. We just want to say thank you. And dang, I had another really good important point that I wanted to say. Son of a.
It was the answer to life and everything.
Yeah, no, Josh, I can't remember what the heck it just was, but I can't remember it. We've been drawing, got too many things in the brain right now. But yeah, just want to say thank you guys, and we'll see you at the next time.
Sounds good.
Anything you want to end on, Joshua?
No, you summarized it perfectly.
Cool. All right. I'll think of that thing again. We'll touch base on it next time. But hoping to see you guys at this year. I hope some of those events work out for you guys. It's very cool to be able to, like I said, meet you guys in person. But also, I know there's a lot of guys who are like, hey, man, I didn't catch you guys at this one. I'll meet you at the next one. And we love for you guys to stop by and say hello. So hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thanks so much for checking in, and we'll see you guys later.